Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Beauty, also known as The Rich Aunt. If you see me posting during the week, just know that I'm having a good week. Just know that izinto zam zihamba ngolayini, right? So I'm recording this today. It's a Tuesday. It's still Tuesday morning. I was just preparing for work, and you know what? I decided, or rather, this was actually a request from one of my subscribers to say that Beauty, we haven't done cash stuffing in a long time, so would like to see some cash stuffing videos. And lucky enough, yesterday I just did my cash withdrawals, and I was planning to do my cash stuffing today, right? So the request came in just at the right time while we still have the cash and we haven't even done the cash stuffing. So that is what we're gonna be doing in this video, right? And I think I might post another video somewhere in the week whereby we talk about different types of savings accounts that you can actually have to save money on, because that was also part of the request that she did. But on this video, we are just going to do cash stuffing and just talk a little bit more about budgeting and why do I do cash stuffing. I know in my previous videos I've explained this, but then maybe today let's talk about budgeting for a beginner, right? You haven't done budgeting before and you want to start doing it. Where do you start, right? So I will tell you a quick backstory on how I started my budgeting journey and how did I even get to doing the cash stuffing method. Why did I do it? And yeah, so I will be taking us through that right now. So we're going to talk about budgeting for a beginner, right? So where do you start? Like, where do you start to say, you know what, I want to do a budget? Do you just take a pen and paper, sit down, write your expenses, write your income, and you go about it? So if you want a budget that would really work, you need to take some time. Number one, it takes time to put a budget together, right? To understand what is your income, to understand what is your expenses. So you need to set time aside to do that. You need to schedule yourself that time to sit down and say, you know what, I want to start doing my budget, right? At the beginning, you're gonna need a lot of time, but as time goes by, it gets easier, right? So when you start with your budgeting journey, number one, the things that you are gonna need, we're gonna need you're gonna need your, let's say, 6 months bank statements, right? You're gonna need your 6 months bank statements. You're gonna need maybe your latest 3 salary slips, and you're just gonna need, it's either a journal like mine. I use this. I love having a journal whereby I write things, or you can do it on an A4 paper, but you're gonna need a few when you do that until you get it structured and you can actually put it on one place, right? So why do we need the bank statement? The bank statement will actually tell us the true reflection of where your money goes, right? So once you have printed your bank statement, the first thing that we need to do is to identify the income, identify the expenses, and categorize them, right? So let's start with identifying your income. So obviously, on your bank statement, there's a section, yeah, money in, right? Or in, for other banks, it says deposits. Yeah? So that is where you will identify all money that comes into your account. So your salary will be there. If you get an allowance, it will be there. If you are earning whatever money that you get, it should be under the deposit. It should be under the section here, money in, right? So the reason we want to do 6 months bank statement is for us to be able to identify the fixed income and the variable income, right? So once you have your 6 months of bank statements, get a highlighter. You highlight all the money coming in, right? So you firstly do the first month, identify how much the income is. You go to the second month, the third month, the fourth month, the fifth month, and the last month, right? And then it will show you the money that you are receiving. So say you are just a 33-year-old woman like me, and you just get a salary, right? So in your 6 months of bank statement, you will see the salary that comes into your account. Then you identify that amount. How much is it? Say, for example, it's 25,000 rand, right? It is consistent, it's 25,000 rand all the way. Yeah? For others, it might differ, but in this case, let's take an example of Beauty, a 33-year-old woman, and her income is 25,000 rand. I don't work any overtimes, I don't get any incentives in this case, right? So I have identified my income is 25,000 rand. So you take a blank paper, then you write income 25,000 rand. That's it. That's the only money that I receive. Then, once the income is identified, we go to identifying your expenses. So now, after the income has been received, what do you do with that money? Right? So under money out on your bank statement, you will identify cash withdrawals, you will identify transfers, you will identify debit orders, you will identify card machine purchases where you swipe your card. So then we are going to start categorizing our expenses. So the first thing to do, let's start with the debit orders. So you get a different highlighter. We are going to highlight all the debit orders that goes off your account, right? We can say debit orders and online transactions, like maybe you are paying for your iPhone storage, you paying for iTunes, you paying for Netflix, you paying for DSTV, and that goes through online shopping, like it's a subscription, right? So let's categorize that as part of the debit orders. So we are going to have debit orders now. We are identifying. So here is Beauty, then we highlight all the debit orders. So you look at month 1, month 2, right, until month 6, right? So on to month 6, right? So we have all the debit orders. So you need to check, do they debit the same amount or do the amounts vary from month to month? Yeah? So let's say they debit the same amount. We then say this is a fixed expense because the amount that you pay is the same, right? So say you are paying for your car. The installment is the same every month, it's 5,000 rand. And then you also have a debit order, your home loan, or maybe maybe let's say your home loan, it is 4,000 rand, whatever the case is, right? So then those are fixed expenses, and maybe your DSTV, your Netflix, your Showmax, everything that you pay, it is also fixed. The amounts are the same, you have identified, right? And let's say that the amounts are not the same. Maybe let's say you are on an open contract at Telkom, right? So they charge you depending on what you have used. So then that expense becomes a variable expense because it varies month to month, right? So in that case, we are going to take the highest amount that you have paid in the 6 months, and we will use that to put it as part of your expenses. So that is on debit orders. So we have identified all the debit orders. Then we move to the second expense, which is the transfers that you make. Maybe you're transferring money to your siblings, you're transferring money to your stokvels, whatever transfers that you make. You get another different highlighter. We are highlighting all the transfers that we make every month, right? Then you do that for the whole 6 months so that we can identify if the amounts are the same. So if the amount is the same, then we get another piece of paper where we write transfers. Then you write all your transfers. Obviously, you will have to put a name on it. If it's money that you're giving to your siblings, so write there your siblings' name, and this is the amount that you're transferring for them. If you are transferring money for school fees, you write the school fees. This is the amount that you are transferring for the school fees, right? And then we move to another expense category, right, which is cash withdrawal. Now that is where I actually started my cash stuffing, so that there is a name to this cash withdrawal that we are making every single month. Ne? So now you take a highlighter. This is a bit tricky because the cash withdrawals, they differ, and maybe you withdraw cash for different reasons, and it is not the same every month, right? So you are going to write down all the amounts that you are going to highlight them on the bank statement, all the cash withdrawals that you make. So say for example you withdraw 2,000 rand every month, and then somewhere mid-month you would draw 500 or 300, right? So then we will identify those, and then we will try to figure out an average amount that you actually withdraw, right? Because maybe it's different on different months. So then we are going to put a name on that cash withdrawal. So the 2,000 cash withdrawal that you make, what do you do with that money, right? Maybe the 2,000 withdrawal that I make, 500 rand as for my, I don't know, 500 rand we are paying, what can we say? I don't know. 500 rand, say maybe it is for crash, yawan. Maybe you take the money cash there, ne? And then 1,500 we pay it to the nanny, ne? And then the 200 rand is just money that we can't even categorize, ne? Because maybe you just keep it, or maybe it's for bread, ne? Let's say it's for bread. So right, now we have your cash withdrawals. So then we will identify them, put a name on it. So the 2.5 that we withdraw, 500 goes here, 1.5 goes here, and the other 200 or 500 goes there, right? So you have a name for that cash withdrawal. Where is that cash going to? And then the other one, we're looking at your card machine purchases. Now this is where you swipe your card. We will identify places like BP Garage. Obviously, that's where I pour my petrol. We will identify places like Clicks. That's where I buy my toiletries. You will identify places like ShopRite or Checkers or Pick and Pay. Basically, that's where you do your groceries, right? So you will identify everywhere where you swipe your card, and we are going to understand what are we swiping at BP Garage. It's petrol. How often do we do it? And then we get the total of how much do we spend on petrol. So we have that one as our last category, right? Remember, we have the income sheet that we have identified how much is the salary. Secondly, we identified the expenses. So we broke down our expenses into categories. So we have debit orders, we have transfers, we have cash withdrawals, and we have card machine purchases. Right. So now the real work begins. So now you're going to get a total of all your debit orders, a total of all your transfers, a total of all your cash withdrawals, a total of all your card machine purchases. Yeah? And then once you have that total, we sit down, we put it all together. So we are adding debit orders plus transfers plus cash withdrawals plus card machine purchases. And let's say they amount to 26,000 rand. Ne? And how much was our income? It was 25,000 rand. So now that is where we actually sit down and work out this budget. You spend 1,000 rand that you don't even have. There's a high chance that the 1,000 rand you transfer it from your credit card to your savings account, or you borrowed money from a friend, they transferred it into your account, and yeah, you had to pay them month end, right? So that's when we are able to actually sit down and check what is the problem here. So we are receiving 25,000 rand of income. Our expenses are 26,000 rand. So the purpose of a budget is to see, are you having a surplus or are you having a deficit at the end of the month or on your pay, right? So once we identify that there is a surplus or there's a deficit, then that's where we need to start doing the work. So in this case, Beauty gets 25,000, her expenses are 26,000, right? Then we have to decide, okay, let's check this 1,000 rand that we don't have and we are spending. where does it go, and what is it that we can actually reduce to make sure that we're living life within our means, right? So what you will do right now is that you will look at your expenses. So the cash withdrawal that we make or on the card machine purchases, what are the things that we can actually we are looking now, we are identifying to say, okay, we have a deficit of 1,000. What can we cut off so that we don't have a deficit? Yeah, 1,000 rand, right? So we will look at the cash withdrawals. What are we doing with the cash? The card machine purchases, what are we swiping, where are we swiping, and are these things necessary, right? So obviously the reason you are doing a budget is that you are trying to fix your financial life. So then if you identify that there's actually money that I'm spending that I can necessarily actually cut out, I don't need to, right? That's where you will then start making a certain changes on your lifestyle. So when I started my own journey of budgeting, I also had a deficit here about 1,800 rands, yeah? And I had to sit down and make um, lifestyle changes, right? And that included looking at getting a transfer to work closer to home so that I can cut down on my petrol expenses. And it also took me, checking my behavior. When I was working at Colonnade, first thing in the morning, drive through McDonald's, I get breakfast, right? And then during lunchtime, I go to parents, I buy something for lunch. And then later on, when I go to work, I go to ShopRite Liquor and I get tunyana for the road. Okay? So making that lifestyle change, obviously getting a branch closer to home. Number one, I saved on petrol. So from spending 1,500 rands on petrol in a month, I actually started spending 500 rand on petrol, right? So we have 1,000 rand back. Before we even cut all the other things, we have that 1,000 rand. We have found 1,000 rand back into the income. And then obviously now that I work closer to home, I actually make breakfast in the morning before I go to work. So, and there's no McDonald's here, right? So I do breakfast at home, I eat at home, and I go to work. Lunch, I had to work on a way on how do I spend money for lunch. I realized that I was spending a lot of money on lunch, and I had to come up with a way to minimize that. So that's where the cash stuffing and all these other beautiful things came to part, right? So you can also decide to start doing your cash stuffing, especially because you know that maybe I'm not too disciplined. If money is in my account, beauty, I'm gonna swipe. So I started my cash stuffing journey so that I don't have money in my account after all the expenses are paid, and I do cash stuffing for things that the money needs to be in the account for the whole month, but then something can happen and then I can swipe money that was not categorized for that. So that's when I introduced to my own life a cash stuffing. So I bought myself a cash binder and envelopes inside to do my cash stuffing. So I identified that I want to fix my life. So I had to go and spend money to get this. I had to go and spend time to actually understand what this is. I had to go to other people's YouTube videos to understand how do they do it, and does it really serve the purpose. And I found that it does. I've been using this it's maybe almost a year now, doing cash stuffing, and it's working so beautiful for me. So I'm gonna take you through how I do my cash stuffing, right? So you wanna do your own budget, you wanna print your bank statement, you wanna identify, do we have a surplus or do we have a deficit? If we have a surplus on your budget, is the money that you are saving every month? If you are not saving money every month, then maybe with your surplus, start building your emergency fund. We will touch on that on the next video, whereby we'll talk on different types of savings plans. What can you save for, having savings goals and all that, right? But for now, let us do my cash stuffing. So my budget, let me just maybe take you through my budget quickly. So on my budget, this is my monthly budget, right? So I have them, this was for the month of April. I write there what is the income that we are receiving, and I write all my debit orders, my transfers, and my cash withdrawals, right? So my debit orders, obviously, by the time I wake up, they have went off. So on the 25th, when I wake up, I just tick all the debit orders that went off. Then I do the transfers, and as I do the transfers, I tick them off, and then I will do the cash withdrawals. And then once I've withdrawn the cash, that's where we come to my cash stuffing envelope, right? So doing this every month, I enjoy it, I love it, and I see my life getting better day by day. I don't want this video to be too long. I can talk for forever, right? But let's get into my cash stuffing. So I got this from Shein. They also have it on Take A Lot. It's not that expensive. So when you go there, you put on cash binder, then you will get this, right? So I do my cash withdrawal. So it's just one withdrawal that I make. So I send a cash send and I get my cash. So this is the cash that we are going to do the cash stuffing with. Ne? So this cash, it is about 1,400, I think. But let's count it together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 1,000 rand. 2, 4, 5, 640. So now we are going to do my cash stuffing. So I don't cash stuff for a lot of things. I cash stuff for my work lunch money. I cash stuff for petrol, and I cash stuff for beauty. This is for my toiletries, and then I put extras there. This is normally money for offering, or you know, those unforeseen 20 rand here, 50 rand there. I put it under extra cash. So I don't do a whole lot of cash stuffing because most of the things they go through transfers, right? So the first thing that I'm cash stuffing for is my lunch money at work. For the whole month, I spend 600 rand on lunch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 rand. So I spend 150 rand on lunch in a week. So 150 times 4 weeks, it is 600 rand. So then this, it means that I have to put together a meal plan for the whole month. So because I do it then per week, I would decide what are we eating this week. Is it a fruits type of week whereby maybe I'll just buy yogurt and every day I just buy fruits, you know? And so the reason I love this is because I'm also disciplined in the way I eat. So we will have a week whereby we're just eating fruits, right? I just buy a tub of yogurt and I eat fruits. I buy juice, like I buy 2 liters of juice for the whole week. We are sorted. Next week, I replenish again my work groceries. So what do I feel like eating this week? Maybe the noodles here and there, and I will maybe buy pizza. It will come from this month. So I plan it when I do my weekly planning for the week on Sunday. What are we eating this week, so that we spend and stick to the budget. So this is my lunch money. It will go right into work lunch pocket. So it's opened already. Then I put it there, right? And I normally buy groceries. So I make a list of the things that I'm gonna need for my groceries at work. So this is my list, and we have made sure that it is within the budget amount. So I put it in the same envelope. Ooh, mine is falling, right? Then we are going to cash stuff for my petrol. So on petrol, I spend 400 rands in a week. Like you guys know, I work less than a kilometer from home. So I pour 100 rand a month. This 100 rand will take me to church and will take me to work. And I will also visit my partner. And yeah, it's enough, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 400 that we are cash stuffing for my petrol. So that will go under gas money. I can but go to American. South Africa ke petrol, but in America it's gas. So I'll put it under the gas money. So I still have petrol from last week. My partner bought petrol for me, so that's why I haven't like even rushed to do my cash stuffing because I still have petrol. Yeah. And then I'm gonna cash stuff for my toiletries. So on toiletries, I spend 500 rands for my toiletries. So this is the 500. So this, I already have a list as well that I made for the things that I will need. So I have my clicks card there, and I have my list there. So when I go to, clicks, you go there and you have budgeted 500 and the things makes 1,000. So to avoid, if I had or I was doing my shopping with my card, I normally get there, I take everything and anything, and the next thing I have swiped 1,000 rand good clicks. But now I don't do that, honey. I go with my list, I go with the cash. While I'm in the store, my calculator is opened, we are ticking off, and we are making sure that we are within the set budget. Now, good clicks, I suspend 1,000 unnecessarily because you get there, but in for 2, 120, you take in for 3. I buy, if it makes sense to me, I will see or we buy in bulk. But if it doesn't, we will buy it next month. Ka budget next month, right? So that's my clicks money, and that will go under my own name. Rena Baba Lucky, the international names. So I'll put that under beauty. So when I go to clicks, I just take out this. So it comes out. So when I go to clicks, I just take it out. I take it like that. I go and buy my toiletries. I come back. Sometimes so then we keep it for next month, right? And then for the extras, we have here 140 rand. So if it's dealing with the batteries, this is where I get the money. Or if I need something, man, that was not on budget, I will get it under extra. And sometimes the extra money does not work. So in a good month, you will find it there. And yeah, I will then take it, deposit it, and maybe put it in a savings plan. So that's it for my cash stuffing and budgeting. So I hope this inspires someone to go and start saving money, work on your financial status, really understand where you are financially, and start working on it. So this is my cash stuffing, guys. This is all the money, and it has labels on it, and yeah, so it's all packed nicely in there. So shout out to Mpumi for requesting this video. And yeah, so I will do another follow-up video because on the comment section you commented on me doing the budgeting, the cash stuffing, and also talking about savings plans. And yeah, so we'll get to that in the next video. So if my week is still going like this, if I'm still able to take control of my time, you will get another video before the end of the week. So this will go, I think, later today because I need to edit it because the videos got cut here and there, so I need to put it all together. But I believe that by the end of this day it will be up on my channel. So thank you so much for requesting this video. If you want me to tackle something, please comment down below and I will be honored to sit down, go and research first if I don't know about it, and we come and we have a conversation about it here. Like I said, please don't mind my background. Very soon we're gonna work on our YouTube corner. I will buy a table and a chair, do a few decors at the back, and it will look nice. But for now, the most important thing is this content and this lighting. So let's have a great week ahead. I love you guys so much, and thank you so much, Mpumi, for requesting this video. This one is for you.